China's conquest for world domination and its anti-India agenda is well known. China has been supporting and funding Pakistan for its illegitimate incursions in India for long. Recently, it has also supported and included Nepal's Communist Party in its anti-India agenda. It has violated the LSE, but what it did in the Galwan Valley recently, which led to the martyrdom of 20 brave Indian soldiers on their own soil protecting their land, is something India cannot forget. This has escalated the situation between the two countries and almost created a war-like situation for both the countries. Does any country want war? Definitely no. It is not good for lives, it's not good for economy. But consider an example wherein tomorrow your neighbor comes to you and says, from tomorrow 20% of your home belongs to me. Would you accept that? Would you not fight back? This is the situation India is in today. In this time, when all countries of the world are already fighting against a war with Corona, no country would be wise to go into a war, especially if you are nuclear powers like India and China. But if China continues its illegitimate incursions in India, then India will have to take a strong step. But God forbid if such a situation arises, can China actually afford a war against India? Let us try to understand in this video. One of the important aspects when you are involved in a war is how quickly you can deploy your resources at the front. Chinese army in its conquest of world has been scattered all around the world. We have already seen our previous video of the Belt and Road Initiative and the Silk Route. If you have not seen that video, you can see that. I can give you the link in the description. China has already deployed army in this region to achieve the highly ambitious projects of its own. In the South China Sea alone, they have deployed army in order to build artificial islands. China has also upset Japan by sending their ships into the Japanese waters in the East China Sea. Chinese airplanes have been violating the Taiwanese airspace. You have seen here, China has already sort of upset a lot of countries in South China Sea and East China Sea region alone. At the same time, at home, it is already grappling through its another set of issues. It is fighting the second wave of Corona. It is also trying to legitimize its claim on Tibet and fear some sort of uprising there. It is also under world scrutiny for the ill treatment of the Uyghurs. Another problem that China has is the pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong. China fears an uprising. It has deployed a considerable amount of forces in Hong Kong if such a situation arises. The difficult land terrain gives a strategic advantage to the Indian forces. Also, the Indian military forces are one of the best in the world when it comes to land combat. The trade war between China and US is well known. The Trump administration has openly criticized China for its unfair practices, theft of intellectual property, as well as introduce sanctions and tariffs of billions of dollars on Chinese goods and services. After the COVID times, even the European Union and the United Kingdom have decided to reduce the trade ties with China considerably. At the same time, the European Union is also contemplating going to the International Court of Justice against China for the imposition in Hong Kong. China is also experiencing some tensions related to trade from its long-time trade partner Australia. Australia has also accused China for the cyber attacks. This has further escalated the trade tensions between the two countries. Even the smaller economies in Asia like Afghanistan and Myanmar have become aware about the China's debt trap diplomacy and have denied taking any sort of loans or debt from China. China has already strained its trade relations all around the world, and India is one of its important markets. With China's actions, India has already boycotted the use of Chinese goods, which has already apprehended China. Going in a war with India would mean complete boycott of Chinese goods and services. That will terribly impact China's trade with India, and China is not in a position to face this. China may be superior in military numbers, but when it comes to diplomacy, India is a clear winner. One of the important aspects of any war is your allies. China has none. Pakistan and Nepal hardly counts. On the other hand, India has the support of the major economies of the world, be it diplomatically or even in the case we need their military support. As we can clearly see from all the factors, China cannot afford a war with India both diplomatically as well as economically. If China still chooses to go ahead with the war, then its economy will be doomed. It will add to the unrest among the people who are already unhappy about the current leadership and may lead to the toppling of the leadership as well. And the most important, it will be ambushed from all sides and will be diplomatically isolated and cut off from the world. Is the Chinese premier willing to take this risk? Thank you.